Good morning, folks. Hope you're all doing well. Bit of an exciting video today. I am going to show you the system I have used from almost day one of being on Sorare, which has banked me thousands of pounds in profit. And it's also a system that I am still using today. And in the last 9 weeks, it has banked me over £450 of profit. There are lots of ways, in my opinion, to make money on Sorare, whether that is playing SO5 in the hope to win good cards, to trade in and out of players, etc. However, I believe the system I use is the easiest way of making money on Sorare. Now, without sounding cocky, arrogant, I believe I know Sorare very, very well, the platform. I believe I can spot trends, opportunities to make money, and I also believe I can spot warning signs. And the example I would give there is last year when the prices of especially limited cards went ridiculous. I was very active at the time on Twitter and expressing my concerns. And at that time, I sold my gallery, not specifically because I was that concerned. I wanted to get involved in other crypto platforms, money for crypto and real life things. But it came to no surprise to me that the prices crashed. I was surprised how much they crashed by, in all honesty, but people who were quite new, the whole idea of limited cards being introduced was to make the platform more affordable for new users. If people came and looked last year, they would have thought, what the fuck's going on? The prices are ridiculously high, especially on the top end limited cards. So, don't want to sound like a fucking smart ass or anything like that, but I could see this happening. There had to be some give somewhere. So the crash was inevitable, and people also got to realize, because crypto, Sorare is a crypto platform, we're in a bear market. That is also, in my opinion, going to have a massive impact on prices too. Now, an example of spotting a trend. Anyone who wants to check what I'm saying is correct, just referring back to this video I made. The cap 240 threshold rare team for 250 quid. Anyone wants to go back and listen to that video, I specifically stated on that video I could not believe how much the prices had dropped, and I believed it was a great opportunity to get back involved in Sorare, and that's exactly what I did. That video was specifically for obviously the cap threshold team, which incidentally you wouldn't get for under 250 quid now because prices have risen. But I was also behind the scenes building my gallery up and buying players left, right, and centre. At the very beginning of, it was roughly about the 2nd of May, I started getting heavily back involved into the platform. Like I said, I don't want to come across as a smart ass. I'm not going to be 100% correct on everything I predict on Sorare, but if you get the majority of the decisions right, you're going to make money. And like I've said, I believe because of the length of time I've been on Sorare, I know this system or this platform like the back of my hand. I know how things are gonna, I say I know, I make an educated guess on what I believe will happen based on previous experiences. And more often than not, they happen. So like I said, when I made that video, I was also busy buying mainly limited cards to build my gallery up to play SO5 for next season. And I was specifically targeting European players because at that time, their season was either coming to an end or it had already finished. And 3 of the last 4 years of being on Sorare, there is a huge drop in prices when the season comes to an end. And those prices or the prices begin to rise the nearer the season comes to resuming back up again. Like I said, given the prices that I was seeing, they were far too low. And I would argue that was across the board on limited and rares. Rares in particular, because what you can win on a 240 cap, $50, I think is sensational. You can apply that to the limiteds as well, because you get a limited team for like 15 quid that can win you $5 every week. So that again, in terms of ROI, is sensational. and those prices didn't add up to me. Hence, I was saying it was an exceptional value and an exceptional time to get involved into Sorare. Now, in a nutshell, this system is nothing scientific. It is very straightforward, and all it involves is buying and selling players at the right time. So, like I said, as soon as the European season was either coming to an end or had just finished, I was looking at all the players that I wanted for my teams next year. I wanted them bought straight away. As soon as I possibly could, I wanted them in my club and get them in, because I had an inkling the prices would start to rise, and that's exactly what's happened. And I will show you on using Sorare Base how much money I've made in the last 9 weeks purely by buying players at a specific time. And bearing in mind, these players, 99% of them haven't kicked the ball in anger since I bought them, but they're worth far more than what I paid for them. Now, for anyone who thinks I'm talking a load of fucking nonsense and bullshit, I assure you I am not doing that. The beauty with Sorare being crypto and on a blockchain, everything I claim, there are ways and means that people can check what I'm saying. Incidentally, I've got no reason to bullshit anyone on what I'm doing on Sorare. I've made life-changing money on Sorare. All I'm trying to do is help other people to make as much money as they possibly can on Sorare by giving you my experience of being on the platform and what works and what doesn't work. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to take you over to Sorare Base, and at the bottom of the screen, the 2nd of May, that is when I started buying my first set of players. As you can see, I'm not going to bore you to death and go through every trade because there's shitloads on here. I'm just going to point out the biggies in terms of the percentages. I'm not even, the money's not important when it comes to investment, in my opinion. Obviously important, but the biggest thing I look at is the percentages on what you've made. So I'm just going to pick out the big ones on that. The very first player I bought back in was Coop Miners of Atlanta. 54%. Nothing to be sniffed at. It's good percentages. Victor Gyorques, who could be going to Sporting by the looks from Coventry, paid 12.70, 33 quid, his last sale price. And that's important. The last sale price is what I'm going on because this is how this uh, database works. 161%. Hans Van Aken, nearly 70%. Just going to scroll through. Players I've won, I'm not going to include. I also bought a few Mexicans because their season had just come to an end. And for anyone who doesn't know, their season resumed last weekend. So Brian Lozano, for example, 60%. Diego Valdez at 116 or 115. I also bought the Santos keeper, the reserve keeper, because I was aware they're number one, had a shoulder injury, so I banked on him being injured for the start of the season. Don't think he's back till September. So the guy I bought 180%, 187%. Louis Petrie from Leuven, 106%. Saar Korea, who's a forward for Sturm Graz. You're talking nearly 200% there. Fabian Coons, who's a rare card, who's part of my Cap 240 squad, 151%. I want to show you some of the rares because there's good percentages on the limited, but I want to show you the rares as well. There's Dominic Badgie, who I'm not going to include in this because he's an American player and I bought him because he was so cheap. But that's like 1,000% there. So all good stuff. But here's some of the rares that I bought for my rare team. 47% up on Till. Ritz the same. Klassen 62. Mendel 100%. I could go on and on and on, but I'm conscious I don't want to bore people because unless it's your own, you haven't got the same interest as the person who's doing it. But I just want to give you an example on what's possible if you get in at the right time. I know prices generally across the board have started to rise. I think I've covered this before, but on Sorare Base, It'll give you gallery trading on the cards you physically got in your gallery now. Before I started buying, so end of April, this was showing a negative of nearly 500 quid. So the swing has been in total of 825 quid. Based on the players I've bought since the May, I've gone through them and calculated it myself. The profit I'm showing, if I was to sell them all today at the last sale price, my profit would be £469. Now again, please remember, other than one or two, since I've bought them, they've not kicked a ball in anger. They've simply on up in price because the demand is starting to grow for them because the season is almost upon us. Now, to some, especially the bigger accounts on Sorare, 469 quid is hardly anything to these guys. I'm sure most people who watch my video are like me, working class people, that's averaging 50 odd quid a week for doing literally nothing other than buying the players at the right time. That is a lot of money. And like I said, in my opinion, it's easy money too. All you need for this to work is the ability to see these trends, spot opportunities on Sorare, and obviously have the money in the first place to buy these players. Now, I just want to touch on a subject. When I was looking at these players that I was purchasing, I was very tempted to get involved in the MLS, and I bought one or two, but generally, like Badgie, they were low speculative punts. Um, but I was looking at one or two, what I would class as good players for the MLS, and because of the time, which I said was May-ish time, I didn't want to be buying players in that league at that particular time because I don't play Asia and it was the only real league that was going on. And in my opinion, it's the worst time to buy because players' prices are at a premium because the demand is there because it's the only real league that anyone's got any interest in. So I have made a list of every player that I wanted to buy and I would only purchase them now either the last few weeks of the MLS season because the prices will drop off, or when the season actually finishes. Because trust me, I've seen this happen time and time again over season after season. Players that I would be looking at back in May that would have probably cost me 30, 40 quid. I am absolutely confident that I will get him for at least 50% of that price towards the end of the season. I'm not claiming that on all, but the majority of them. And what you need to keep in mind, if you have got MLS players in your gallery, my advice, if you don't want to keep them and you're going to be concentrating on Europe, would be to be looking to sell them in the next week or two because Russia's back in 2 weeks, Belgium's back the week after, and I believe Austria is too. Then you're looking at the big leagues, Premier League, Spain, Italy, France, etc. So the demand for the MLS players, in my opinion, will wane because most people on Sorare want to get involved in leagues that they've got the most knowledge on and that they enjoy. And because most of us are Europeans playing the game, um, my opinion is the European leagues will be the standout, and these are the players that people will want to purchase more than MLS players, for example. I love the MLS, to be perfectly honest, but it doesn't compete with the European seasons. Sorare comes alive when the European seasons are on, in my opinion. I do generally get involved in the MLS, but because I started buying in too late, because I'd sold up the year before, because I bought back in, there was no way, like I said, I was paying prices at a premium. I don't do things like that on Sorare. Like I said, I got a feeling on how platform works, and don't think you can class yourself as an expert or anything like that. But like I keep saying, I can spot trends, opportunities. That was not an opportunity for me to make money by buying them at the height. So next season, definitely be interested in the MLS when there's no European football on. But I will have made sure November, December of this year, I will have bought all my MLS players for the season following that's going to start again back in March. just on a few different topics now. And before I leave this subject, actually, I hope you found that video useful, and you get some use out of it. And if it can make you money, then fantastic. Please let me know how you get on. Couple of quick things before you go. Competition, I think we're up to 8 now, people who have entered. Like I said, if you know anyone who's eligible, please let them know, because I want more than 8. And I only create content purely because I enjoy doing it. I'm not claiming to be fantastic. I don't flaunt my referral link or anything like that. I don't ask for likes, subscribers. If you enjoy it, great. And you want to subscribe, fantastic. Likewise, if you don't like the content, that's cool as well. Just please leave me in the comments below what you would like me to see, because I genuinely believe I've got so much to give, especially new users, on how they can get a head start on Sorare. I will do everything I possibly can to help these people by running these competitions, etc. So anything you can think of, drop in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.